In this video, we will take this empty nano tank and transform it into a simple habitat for Chili Rasboras. Hello everyone, this is Charles from the FishLoft. Over the years, I have kept many sizes of aquariums, from 6 gallons to 55 gallons. Today, I will share tips on how to set up a simple nano tank and what you need to consider when building such a small tank. Here is the nano tank we are starting with. It measures 12 by 7 by 8 inches, which is quite small, and the smallest tank I have ever built. As we build it, we are going to keep everything as small as possible. Let's start with the substrate. You will want to have a base of aqua soil, which will provide nutrients to your stem plants. I use a mesh bag to keep it separate from the sand that I cap it off with. I am sloping the sand from 2 inches in the back to 1 inch in the front. You want to create a nice bed of sand for beneficial bacteria to grow in. The beneficial bacteria will help break down many harmful toxins in your tank. For the hardscape, I am arranging 2 pieces of coral driftwood to sweep across the length of the tank. This driftwood is really thin and won't take up too much volume in the aquarium, but it will release a small amount of beneficial tannins into the water. I will anchor the driftwood with 3 small pieces of river rock that I have collected on my daily walks. That will be all the hardscape for this tank. I found this mini internal filter online, and I'm adding a coarse sponge and some biomedia from a filter of another one of my tanks, which will help the tank to cycle quickly. Heaters can be large, but I found this tiny 20-watt heater. I am placing it near the filter intake so the heated water will be well dispersed. Next, I will fill the tank with water that I have added water conditioner to. The water conditioner will remove any chlorine and heavy metals from my tap water, making it safe to add my fish later on. I am adding a small, inexpensive LED light, which will be perfect for the plants I will use in this low-tech setup. Whenever I set up a new tank, I always add additional beneficial bacteria to help kickstart the ecosystem. Since there are no fish or snails to produce waste, I will add a tiny bit of food for the bacteria to feed on. A few days later, I am adding some of my favorite orange ram's horn snails. Ram's horns primarily eat soft algae off your glass, plants, and hardscape, but they also eat detritus, decaying plant matter, and will basically scavenge anything they come across. Snails make an excellent addition to help keep your tank clean. A few days later, and we are now ready to start adding some plants. Here are the plants we will be starting with: dwarf sag and 2 types of anubias. I always like to hide the filter and heater if I can, so I am adding the dwarf sag along the left side. Dwarf sag has grass-like leaves and stays fairly short, but grows taller under low lighting. Next in is the Anubias golden coin, which has medium-sized round leaves. You don't want to plant the rhizomes in the sand, but instead wedge them into your hardscape. The same for the Anubias nana petite, which has a smaller, pointy leaf. Their roots will eventually grab hold of any hardscape that they are near. The last plant I am adding is Salvinia calcutta, which I have gathered from my mountain aquarium. The salvinia's roots will soak up all the excess nutrients from the water column. This is very helpful, especially when starting a new tank while it becomes balanced. A few days later, and I am adding a small school of Chili Rasboras. I chose these rasboras because they only grow to 3/4 of an inch long. I also decided to add some microsorts. They will fill in the area around the filter and the heater. Microsorts grow to about 3 to 5 inches tall, and these are already quite tall already. I think the scape is now complete, and I like the triangle shape the plants and hardscape make in the tank. My Chili Rasboras are now starting to settle in and are displaying their vibrant red colors. I also keep chilies in my nature style tank, so I know that despite their small size, they are quite bold once settled in. When I come up to the tank, they approach the glass out of curiosity and hoping to be fed. I suggest keeping chilies in a school of at least 7, as that will make them more secure and their colors more bright. A future species profile video will provide more requirements for Chili Rasboras. For a nano tank of this size, there are only a handful of tiny fish and shrimp that will work, so carefully consider your tank size before purchasing. The larger the tank, the more stocking options you will have. Another thing to think about when setting up a new nano tank: you need to consistently check your water parameters due to the smaller water volume. I suggest including plants, as they play a crucial role in maintaining the ecosystem. I will leave a link in the description of my video about the benefits of a planted tank. I hope this overview inspires you to create your own nano tank. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving me a thumbs up. And if you have time, check out my other videos. See you next time from the FishLoft.